Hey, hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the show featuring leaders who are definitely legit in leading above the noise. I'm Jim, and I get to be the host today. I have the honor and great privilege of spending time with the artist formerly known as John Cegielski, who shares the space with some and the gravitas with some of the other one-name wonders like Bono, Cher, Oprah, come on, Prince, Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Central Pennsylvania's Community College, aka HACC, President Dr. Ski. Dr. Ski, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Fantastic. Hey, I need to point out something right out of the gate, sir. You're one fit dude. You are one fit. I don't always make friends with presidents and executives when I say your mandate is to be the healthiest person in the room. But I see you. I see the discipline. I see you in the gym. I see you out on the biking paths. I see you out on the trails running. Has fitness always been part of your routine?
It always has, Joe. It's always been a part of my routine, and especially in these jobs now as presidents, it is very hard to try and find the time. We really have to make the time. So I build it into my calendar. I build it into my schedule. It is sacrosanct, but it is so important. These jobs are so intense, as you know. They can be stressful, and so we have to make sure we're taking care of us. At least two pillars, nutrition and wellness, being exercise, cardio, anaerobic and aerobic exercise is so critical.
Well, when they say model the way, sometimes we forget about how important just that center circle of you in modeling that way. So I want to just say, bravo, brother. You are the standard. You seriously are. And for the 5 people out there who might not know who you are, give us just a brief little introduction of yourself. What's it like to be Dr. Ski?
Well, what's it like? I have the privilege and honor of being the president of HACC, Central Pennsylvania's community college in Central Pennsylvania. We're the largest, the oldest, and I believe the finest community college in Pennsylvania. And I am just so excited to be here to be able to talk about, some of the successes we enjoy as a teaching and learning institution.
Yeah, you've got a very unique institution. You do. It stands out there as a bright, shining light of innovation, but also some of the real just key standard pieces of how do you create a vibrant educational institution within a growing community. So give us a sense of why that is unique and how it has become that unique.
Joe, I think what's really important is we understand the needs of Central Pennsylvania. We have 5 campuses. We serve 11 counties. We have 65 school districts. And so we strive to be very much engaged with all of our community. We are the community's college, and it's critical for us to understand the needs and to be able to deliver on satisfying those needs. And so that, I think, is what we are very, very proud about. The other issue is because we are striving to be anti-racist within the institution, our focus on diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging is critical, is core to who we are, so that we ensure we are that on-ramp to higher education and we remain the community's college for everyone.
So good. So good. I just finally watched the documentary of one of those other one-name wonders out there, Jordan, right? The Last Dance. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but I don't know. Should we settle the debate right here? Is he the GOAT? Is he the GOAT?
I think he is.
He doesn't have his son playing for him right now, though, so there's not that appeal. But he revolutionized basketball, and just from some of the things you talked about there, how some of the things that are core to the principles of your learning institution, you are transforming the landscape of the community college experience. When you took over the office, excuse me, at HACC, what year was that?
2011, July of 2011.
2011. Did you have a vision of what HACC would become today? Did you have that picture in your head?
I did not, Joe. And that is one of the things that I talk to my mentees about. What you have to do is you have to come in and lead with your ears. whenever you come into a new institution, a new organization, you have to learn about what's in the community. What does the community stand for? Understand just what their needs are, what they have in common with the college, what they're hoping for in the college. And so in my case, I spent the first 120 days, I think I had 70 sessions where I listened to internal and external constituents who helped, through their comments, help me build that plan with my team of where we needed to go as an institution. We were at a crossroads in 2011, as so many higher ed institutions were, so that I felt it was critical. We had that opportunity for the first 3, 6, 9 months to be able to really understand, evaluate the institution, assess the institution, and see where we could slowly start to transform it. One of the things that I find is we had books, we had notebooks of notes from those sessions, and we ended up having to rank order them because there were so many. I think we had close to 300 opportunities that we were able to focus on. But you and I both know, we have to boil that down to maybe the top 3 for the next 6 months, the next year. Then we take a look at what the most key issues are. And so that's what we did in that first year and the subsequent years from that.
Most leaders would take just 100 days to do that, but you protracted that to 120 days, which I mark that as a principle, not necessarily in numbers of days, but the time, attention, discretion, discipline to continue to lead first with the ears. I always find it a little bit silly when the interview questions talk about, well, what is your vision for this campus? And if you answer that, you ought to be thrown out. You ought to be thrown out of the pool. You understand that the vision is already there, the values are already there. It's the leaders. I think the leaders' objective is to figure out what that is, and then play act that moving forward. So, hey, back to Jordan. He globalized the game. He made basketball very popular. I don't know if you used to watch basketball back in the Larry Bird days, but similarly, I think you've worked to increase that accessibility. You're globalizing, the community college experience across your great state and beyond with bringing that, reaching more people, right? So I'm going to ask you maybe to spill some of your secrets. What specific strategies have you implemented at HACC that have had the greatest impact breaking down barriers?
So Joe, let me start with 2 things. So I do believe that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, and I lived in Chicago and went to those games when Michael played. So it does date me a bit. But I think one of the greatest contributions Michael Jordan has made to the world is the bald is beautiful look. He was the first to make that happen. So I attribute my look to Michael Jordan and have for the last so many decades.
You share the iconic haircut.
Thanks to Michael Jordan.
Yes.
So, Joe, what is our secret sauce, if you will?
Yeah. How are you breaking down those barriers that are just so they're rampant across much of the experience for our young and adult learners across our country?
Joe, we all know that hiring is the most important thing we get to do as leaders. And I am so fortunate that so many individuals over the years have applied for positions at the college. And we, as a college institution, have been fortunate to be able to hire very, very competent, capable, and renowned, in some cases, professionals who are willing to come here and work with our students so that we can transform lives, destinies, and family trees. That's at the base of who we are as a community college.
It's bigger than just offering a program to check something off of the transcript. Changing family tree. I've never felt that level of gravitas coming from a college president before.
Lives, destinies, and family trees, Joe. And that's why I love the community college sector. I love our mission. I know that my colleagues across the country feel the same way. My colleagues in Pennsylvania. We have real purpose, our mission, and very much in changing lives, destinies, and family trees. And I think, Joe, the first comment about listening is so critical. The second is then action. So many of us will listen, take notes, but nothing really ever comes of it. And I remember a story where after I finished the listening tours and started to rank order things and give that information back to the college community to say, here's what I heard. And in a sense, it was a qualitative analysis. We were looking for themes, and we still do when we do this throughout the year. And what I found interesting is we were able to identify some themes, but what did I hear when I walked around the college and the campuses? Many would say, ooh, I know I said that, we've been saying it for years, but we did not think you were going to act on it because we have talked to other leaders about these issues. And now that you've acted on it, we're going to be a little circumspect here going forward when you ask a question.
Next time, right. Because you've got a level of credibility there saying it was that important that we put it into a priority list.
Yes.
Worth following. Totally worth following. Hey, Jordan, not only the haircut became a cultural icon, right? But the branding, right? The branding that he was able to pull off through Air Jordan and some ski, hands down. Nobody in your sector has a greater following and does it with that gravitational pull of not wanting to be the star of their own highlight film. You evoke respect without evoking attention. You have mastered this.
Right.
I've actually picked that up from you. I stole it. I ripped it out of your back pocket, sir. This. Every picture you see, and you've got every day you can just look across the social channels and there's Ski pointing at another individual that you believe are the heroes of your institution. I can tell that you, as a president, you absolutely delight in your posts.
I do. Joe, thanks for bringing that up. Social media has transformed what we do. From 2011 to today, there was very limited social media back in 2011. But I think what's wonderful, Joe, is social media allows us to really present opportunities, treasures, successes. And there's so many individuals as my colleagues who need to be celebrated because of the hard work that they do. But so many of our students, Joe, so many, if it wasn't for the community college, which I believe is the on-ramp to higher education, so many students would not have an opportunity to achieve their goals, professional, academic, personal goals. And I think one of the ways that we can celebrate that, we can promote that, is through social media. Joe, it's not about me. I have the privilege and honor to be the president. However, my voice is so important when I think of DEI efforts. As a privileged white male, it is my job to speak for those who may not be able to speak, who aren't in those rooms that voices need to be heard. And the same is with our students. So many who don't get support from home, who don't really have a home of support. I was a first generation college student, and I know I bumbled through everything that first year. My goal is to try and ensure with new student orientation and all that we make it as easy as possible for students to come into the institution and be supported along the way so that it's very difficult for them to exit the institution unless they achieve their certificate, diploma, degree, whatever the reason is that they came to the college. That is what's critical for us to be able to lift up individuals, Joe, who have gone through so much to get to where they are. The 45-year-old who raised a child, the 55-year-old, or most recently, a 75-year-old grandmother who put her kids and her grandkids through college. She finally graduated with a degree and now will be working for her granddaughter. These are the kind of wonderful transformative stories that we hear so much. I tried college when I was 18. I raised a family now at 32. I'm more determined, or my employer has said whatever. There's no better place than HACC or a community college, because not only the instruction is phenomenal, the support services are there to support. Think about it. Very limited amount of time is spent in the classroom. Much more is spent outside the classroom. And so we want to make sure those wraparound services are there to uplift and support those students so that we eliminate any roadblock or most roadblocks if possible, so they can achieve their goal. And that's why social media is so important, to highlight them, to really help encourage others who may be doubtful, who may not believe in themselves, who could say, hey, I know Joe, and if Joe can do it, maybe I can do it.
Right. Ugh, I could run through a wall right now. Thanks for bringing the joy back to the profession.
Joe,
honestly, brag away. We're going to.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is so important. You and I both know education changed our lives. There is nothing I believe is more important than be able to offer these types of opportunities to students so that they can not only believe in themselves, because Joe, so many students need to believe in themselves. And once they do, that fire is ignited within them, that then they gain more and more confidence, more and more success. And Joe, these are the next generations of the Joe Hills and others in our communities, thanks to the work of so many in a community college.
Wow. You are on the move. You're definitely on the move. Looking ahead, what are some of the key priorities for HACC in the next couple of years?
So, Joe, I think some of the priorities in the next couple of years are going to be taking a look at our programs. And I know institutions are doing that nationwide. We have about 100 programs. Well, how many of those programs are valid today? So we are taking a very serious look at all those programs as we listen to the business community and asking them to help us identify what are the traits, what are the skills, what are the issues that they're facing now that our students need to be prepared for. And so that is critical. We are always going to remain engaged in the community so that we can help understand what their needs are and then fashion the programs so that it can stay current in 2024, 25 through 2030 even. That's a critical piece. Joe, the other piece that is so important to us is as we move to adult learners, we're seeing more and more adult learners as opposed to the traditional age 18, 19, 20. What are we doing in our institutions to transform them, to enhance them, so that we are very much engaging those adult students, those students who are working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, who are going to sit down at 11 o'clock at night till 1 a.m. as we look at our data. That's where they're doing most of their work, their online work, from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. The children have been put to bed, maybe things are in order, they're ready for the next day, but there they are. The one thing, Joe, that's overarching, and I know you can have a program on this for days, is going to be the role of artificial intelligence in all we do. Not just from instruction, trying to figure out the guidelines there to help us in the classroom, but Joe, what is artificial intelligence going to do for us from a financial perspective, from student services, from advising, from all types of aspects that we are all struggling to find employees? Many openings at financial aid, advising, IT, a few others. Artificial intelligence is going to have major impact. On one hand, it's exciting, the things that we are able to do. We always need to keep the human in the center of all of that, because it is, I think, so incumbent upon us to be able to ensure that we are fashioning and we are managing that, because we know the bias, the prejudice, all the rest that can be built into all of that. But Joe, the future is exciting when it comes to that. There are some things in the classroom we still have to figure out and we still have to deal with, and that's understandable. But how else is what I'm looking forward to is it is going to transform education, learning, so that it becomes even more personalized. The resources that are going to be able to come to that student like never before. Joe, think about it. If we had that opportunity, where would we be today? And so that's why we are leading institutions that have this capability, that are having these discussions so that we can really stay current with our communities and produce the employees for our communities. And every one of the employers we're talking to, artificial intelligence is always a topic that's brought up.
Absolutely. I mean, from a global standpoint, climate and AI, and from the faculty perspective, and we could go hours on this topic, to eliminate that fear, it actually will create the conditions for us to do what we were called to do in the first place: care and attend to the personal needs of our learners. So,
Joe,
wrapping up here, my friend. We got to wrap this up.
I was just going to say, we are becoming very different as institutions of higher learning. We are not the institutions you and I experienced. We're not even the institutions that were experienced 5 and 10 years ago. But Joe, you and I read about it every day. It's critical that we as educational institutions remain current, because look at the colleges that continue to close. Look at the colleges that look to continue to merge. And all of that is good. I see that as good, but we have to make sure that we're being as entrepreneurial and innovative as possible as things change. The last example I'll give you for an institution, we're shedding some of our real estate because we know that there's a mix now of hybrid, on-ground, and virtual learning, and we don't need the buildings that we once had. So what are we looking at? We're looking at ways that we can bring partners into those facilities that would really help our students benefit with jobs or internships and the like, because we have a lot of property, we have a lot of buildings, and we're never going to fill them like we once did. And so that, for me, is exciting, the planning, the opportunities, and the education, because educators and the educational institutions can be a bit traditional. And so doing things like this with artificial intelligence and other types of projects like this can challenge many of us. Right. And so we just need to stay patient and open, but realize the clock is ticking. And so we don't have days or weeks because the competition is getting more intense. We as educational institutions don't have the lion's share or the answer for everything. Corporations are becoming more engaged because they're becoming frustrated with educational institutions because it seems to take so long to turn things around. And since we're global, our workers need to be at the cutting edge. And that's the role we play. Credit, non-credit, it really doesn't matter. Getting that certificate, diploma, degree is what's critical for employers and especially for our students to succeed in the ever-changing economy that we live in now.
If we were to title this podcast today, I think it would be Staying in Demand and Profitable by Dr. Ski. I mean, that's literally what we're talking about here today, to reclaim that momentum that our industries and our communities are asking for us today. Ski, thank you.
And Joe, excuse me, last thing. Sorry, I know we could go on. Because higher ed is a bit under assault and some wonder about the benefit of a higher education, I think what you just said is so perfect. And as long as we stay connected to our communities, we are going to remain relevant and current and necessary as we continue to transform lives, destinies, and family trees.
That just kind of flows, doesn't it? We've covered just a smidge of all that is good and productive at HACC. And for our viewers out there, I would honestly say, please keep them on the watch. They're modeling in so many extraordinary ways. How do they keep track of you on that worldwide of the web, Ski?
I don't know, but they do a very nice job of that. Yes.
How do they find HACC and how do they find you?
www.hacc.edu is the place to start, and that will introduce you to the college itself. And then if they wanted to get a hold of me, email is ski, S-K-I, @hacc.edu. And if you go to the webpage, you can learn more about me, the senior leaders, many of the other colleagues of mine, and various programs that we offer, programs and services.
Got it. Please, check that out. To our viewers, thank you for tuning in and joining us today. This has been the show with Joe. That's kind of cute, isn't it, Ski?
It is.
I'm reminding you that everyone deserves to live in a community served by healthy leaders like this amazing human who are building healthy teams and leading highly reliable systems. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you all for tuning in to the show. If you found value in today's conversation, please take a moment to support the cause. Hit that like button, leave a comment, share the episode with a colleague, because your engagement helps us to reach more leaders and continue bringing you valuable content. Until next time, this is Dr. Joe on purpose to cancel all things average. Peace, friends, and press on.